Some things coming to a close and some things starting anew on this week's Board Game News Roundup for the week of March 5th, 2018.
Funagain Games, one of the major board game retailers that opened up in 1996, has just announced it is closing its online retailer shops. After some tough decisions, it decided to close the online store and doing a wholesale liquidation sale. However, this won't affect their physical stores and hopes that you'll still visit them to support them there.
Yeah, those are in Oregon, I believe.
Yes.
But it is, I mean, they've been around, like you said, since 1996, which is a very long time to do anything, let alone to sell board games, because that's well before board games were in the mainstream. That's like right around the kind of the Catan era. So they were really there right at the beginning of things, which is crazy. We ourselves are no strangers to online stores closing. We're intimately familiar with that happening, and yeah, it's sad. It's tough out there, man. It's tough. So, but it's at least hopefully they do keep those physical stores open.
No,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's definitely partly because I think just our own consumption as consumers with Amazon and stuff, in addition to what many of the board game industry is doing with not just consolidating, but also rules of like MSRP, different values and stuff like that. It's very hard to have, I can just imagine having both an online and a physical. And in the online, you have to do a lot more competing with these companies that are so much bigger and it's much harder. People are a little bit more forgiving if you might be out of stock at a physical store, not so much online when they can be literally move the mouse over like 5 inches and then go to another place.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider. Like you said, doing both at once is, I can't even imagine the headache, but best of luck to y'all, Funagain Games. The online role-playing game system Roll20 has announced an official partnership with Paizo for use of their role-playing games Pathfinder as well as Starfinder. The first volume of their War for the Crown Pathfinder adventure is available right now, and later this month, character sheets are going to be available for free to all users of Roll20. This is exciting if you're a Pathfinder and or Starfinder player and you use Roll20, which we have used in the past, and it's a pretty great resource for online role-playing games with people who aren't in the same area as you. So you'll be able to have access to those official resources in the system and not have to do any kind of homebrew stuff to get through that.
Yeah, one of the big things I know with the whole the Finder series, Paizo's, is they do a lot of these little adventure chapter packs, less about like building your own world, but like here's this scenario. Like I remember when we visited Gen Con once, I talked like one was actually playing as if you were rebels in a revolution. One was like if you're the city guard kind of deal. So that's one of their big draws, and allowing the online to really facilitate it more is a big deal for some people who like me, for example, live in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, so it's exciting. So check it out if you're one of those people.
ZMan has announced they're going to start selling a bunch of their previous promo items on their store. You can check it out. This is similar, I guess, to what Board Game Geek site does. I'm definitely for it. I don't like the idea of something being like a Kickstarter exclusive or convention exclusive because sometimes you can't make it or you couldn't fund it then. So being able to have access to the small things, especially if it's something that's a mechanic difference. Like if it's just an alternate art piece, I'm not as big of a thing about, but like if there's a fun card in there, like a promo. I know recently we played a game and someone used the promo card, which was hilarious.
Yeah, and it looks like, you know, this is more than just a card. There's sort of like a few tiles maybe, or a few cards.
I used, for example, that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big deal. And I know some people would be like, I'm a collector, you know, I want the VAT. Maybe they could stamp something to make it so it's the reseller version. That's fine with me, as long as I can still have a nice physical copy of whatever the promo is.
Yeah. Some of the games that I've started off with, I know, are Terra Mystica, which we're fans of. Carcassonne was in there. Feast for Odin, which I know everybody loves. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I definitely hope they continue to do it and more companies continue to do it. Because yeah, sometimes you get one of these at a convention or something, but if it's hard to find them elsewhere, it can be a bummer.
Right.
The Academy Awards just happened this past Sunday, but those aren't the only nominations in place this year. The Board Game Geek Golden Geek Awards also have finalized their nominees for Best Game of 2017 and many other categories. Among some of the highlights for Best Game include Spirit Island, Sagrada, Gloomhaven, Azul, Dinosaur Island, you got another island in there, Pandemic Legacy Season 2, Seventh Continent, and several others, a bunch of which we did not have in our top 10 lists, nor that we've had the chance to play. So it's, and there are many nominees. That's one of the things I've seen people talking about is they do include quite a few nominees. But it will be interesting to see what comes out ahead. It certainly seems like Spirit Island, Gloomhaven, most of those ones we're familiar with are sort of probably going to sweep these categories, is my guess. It is too bad that we stopped branding ourselves as a podcast, so we were no longer eligible for the Best Podcast Award. Otherwise, I know we were a shoo-in.
It's why we bowed out. We want other people.
Yeah, we got to give the little people a chance. But yeah, it's for the most part, it seems like the people's thoughts are in line with what most people's thoughts are.
I mean, yeah, it's not a shocker by a stretch. But I would like to see a narrowed down list, personally. Because I think that because the bigger the list is, the more you can just be like, we'll put that in there because just to say you got it. But like by doing 5, I just chose 5 randomly. But you really have to think, you have to do that final like voting or even look like, does that deserve to be on here or not? Like something like that.
Yeah, it is, on the other hand, it is kind of nice where there are some games like, you get to highlight that game, which was really great, but normally, the big however many would push them out.
The other thing is, if you're going to do a small list, though, you have to also have multiple awards. I mean, the obvious example would be
which I do, but yeah.
Right, so but I mean, even more, you have to make sure you have them. Like, so if you did have a small one that's just great, you have to be like maybe, board games would be like best kids game or something, best RPG. I mean, because then you're sort of, if you don't, then you really are just ignoring an entire audience.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, you can go to the list and see it for yourself and vote on what you think should be the winners, and many categories, including artwork and all that kind of stuff. They also have categories for even video games on there if you want to vote for your favorite video games as well. I don't know, why not?
CMON has released a new video hinting at the next place Zombicide is going to going, in particular, space. This video shows some Zombicide and space pictures. In addition, to throw some more fuel on the fire, they have recently trademarked Xenocide. So this has led a lot of people excited that after the medieval, we're going into space and more futuristic Zombicide.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Do you think we're going to have aliens version of Zombicide, or will it be zombies in space?
I think it's going to be sort of a mixture too. It won't be just, there might be some that are just a dead astronaut, but I do think they're going to probably change it up a little bit. One that allows for more interesting miniatures that aren't just like an ugly human.
Yeah.
That's why, like, I know the medieval one, there was like a werewolf expansion, for example. Because it made sense for some more mythical, like a minotaur or werewolves and stuff.
Maybe there'll be like aliens that are kind of zombie-like in their behavior.
Right. I think they're going to do something more like that. It allows also for more different game mechanics. Give me like, this one, has maybe a weird range attack or something, stuff like that. So I think it would be more like it probably still has that zombie-esque look of the rotten flesh and stuff, but with more probably like a xenomorph or a Zerg sort of attributes and stuff.
I'll tell you one prediction that I know is going to come true. It'll be on Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, with exclusives.
Some digital game news this week. Onitama has been released as a digital app in early access mode. So there was sort of a closed beta thing. Currently, as of this recording, there are no slots available to get into it, but for a time it was available for free to download. And this is a version of the Arcane Wonders game head-to-head 2-player Onitama. And it had solo modes as well as online play and some other cool features. And from what I've heard from people, it was a pretty slick app. It also included some in-game purchases, including the digital versions of the expansion that exists. And it sounds like actually skins and different kind of decorations you can give to your board or your pieces or your characters as you play, which is an interesting idea. But this seems like it'd be a pretty good fit for a digital version. I hope that the 2-player mode is done well. It has a pass and play as well, so it'd be pretty good probably for like a train ride, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, a lot of the online games I can think of are multiplayer ones, or strictly are designed to fit with multiple people, and you probably want to play with more than 2. So a 2-player one I think is a good addition. We've enjoyed this when we played it.
Yeah.
it's definitely, I think, makes perfect sense for a pass and go. You can just pass, and that's exactly what you do. You pass cards.
Yeah, it basically is what you do. Yeah, and putting it in early access is interesting. I haven't seen too many games that do that. So hopefully, I don't know when it's released, if that you're going to pay for it. I imagine you will, because I don't think this is the kind of game that has really that many like in-game transactions. It seems more like you'd pay like $3.99 or something and get it once. But we'll see. I
will say it is interesting, as you said, early access, because usually when I think of that, I think of a video game that's still in the works.
Right.
And it's not just the mechanics and stuff. It's is the game fun to play and stuff. This is, we already have a game. We've already balanced it and everything.
Right.
We just want to make sure it works digitally.
Also just a couple other minor app things to throw in here. There's also a Roll for It app recently released, and there was an update to the 7 Wonders app that allows for online play and some more cool stuff like that. So if you are into either of those games, you might want to look into those too. I love those apps.
This has been the News Roundup for the week of March 5th, 2018. I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
Join us next week for more in-depth board game news. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave some comments down below.
Do it!